Hello and welcome to Model Kit Stuff. As you know, my name is Jason and I've got a bit of a special video for you today. Well, it's special to me and I'll explain that in a moment. As you know, I recently had a birthday and I shared a couple of the kits that I got as birthday presents, and absolutely lovely kits they are too. I'm looking forward to building both of those. But actually I did get a third kit or kits, and I wanted to do a separate video for that just because it's so special. So why is this particular model special? Well, I've had this model before. It was bought for me as a Christmas present when I was young. I can't remember how old I was, but I do remember building it. And when I was little, I had a little folded leg picnic table, and I'd sit on the floor with my back against the sofa, picnic table over my legs, and I'd have my model on there, my enamel paints, my cocktail sticks, my emery board, and when I was a bit older I had a penknife, but before that I twisted my parts off the sprues. So that was how I built my models, and I got this model about the time that I was doing that. And I remember getting it and I remember building it and I absolutely loved it. When it was finished, I loved the animation in the model and the display. But in my haste to build it, I had rushed into it and I'd built the whole thing without painting it. And I actually never painted it. And then later, when I was, I broke it up and used the parts as spares in other things, and it just got ripped up. And then for a long time, I've been looking for that so that I could do it again. And in fact, I've been looking for this model for over 25 years. Now, the kit is an Airfix kit, and it has been re-released several times over the years, but not in the full kit format that I originally got as a Christmas present. And they are so rare that they command quite a price for the size of the kit. Certainly not the most expensive old Airfix kit you can buy, but getting there. So imagine my delight when I can talk you through one of these kits that I now finally have. So let's have a look. So this is the kit in question, the HO scale jungle outpost, and this is the kit format that I originally had as a kid, and you can see why I loved it. We've got a building there. We had lots of shovels, pickaxes, barrels and crates and stuff, and you could arrange them all, and then you had these figures, these Japanese soldiers walking these horses through with supplies, and there was a lot of animation. The moulding of the pieces was really good, and it really fired the imagination. It was a tremendous kit, and I had a bit of a thing for, because of the Commando comics at the time, for sort of jungle warfare and stuff, and it really spoke to me. So this is the kit version that I originally had, I believe, and like I say, Airfix have re-released it several times. You'll notice that the scale has changed, because HO, strictly speaking, is 176 and it's now become 172, and it was a skill level 2. And what they did for many years was re-release it with all this picture on, but when you got the side of the box, base not included. So what you got was the building, the figures, and that outbuilding, but you didn't get the vac form base. And that is what's taken me so long to find a version of this with the vac form base. Now, as you can see, I've got two. So here's the story. I bought this and believing it was complete, was told by the seller it was complete. They believed it was complete. They sold this to me, and then when I got it, I mentioned to them that it was incomplete. The figures were missing, and they're a key part of it. But everything else was in there. So they actually gave me a full refund. And with that refund, I was able to purchase this one. Now, this one has the figures. In fact, it has everything except for the base. So I've ended up with two kits and one set of figures, but that's not all. After years and years and years of searching for this and not being able to find one with the base, this one had two bases in it. Believe it or not, two bases stuck together. Now, when I first built it, like I said, I just glued it all together. I was really impressed with it, but I never got round to painting it. And if I had, I certainly wouldn't have done it justice in those years. And it's been burning at me to come back to this and have a damn good go. So let me show you what you get in the kit and what I've got for my birthday to make this absolutely sing and do justice to it the way that it really, really wants to be. So let's take a look at the box. So this kit, which is kit number 04381-8, it's a series 4 kit. It was first released in 1977, so I was at least 7 when I got this, and it's quite likely that I might have got it for Christmas 1977. Not the best year, 1977. Elvis Presley died, Mark Bolan died. I do remember the Silver Jubilee, and I remember getting this kit. So it's quite possible that I got it Christmas 1977, in which means I made it when I was 7 years old. It doesn't come with any air miles or anything like that, or club rewards. It's got a lovely piece of artwork on the front, and it says, construct this wartime Japanese outpost complete with preformed base and military equipment. And at this point, Airfix Products Limited 1976 was registered at Haldane Place in London. It says suitable for age 9 years to adult. For best results, use Airfix adhesive and paints. Then it gives you a list of paints: M3, 5, 14, 21, 23 and G8. And if you remember the old paint numbers, M was matte, G was gloss. Now on this other side, it tells us what's included: shovels, pickaxes, oil drums, bicycles, cable reels, packing cases, pack horses, soldier figures, a bamboo hut, store shelter and a preformed base unpainted. Right, let's have a look at the parts. So first we'll have a look at the preformed base. Now what's happened is when they've packed this, one has got stuck inside the other. So we've got two. I don't know whether this could be cut up to be made into a larger base and we can utilize two, I'm not sure. But I think I want to build one really thoroughly. What you can see is you get combination, firstly you get a really nice texture on the floor. We've got this path with lots of hoof prints and cycle prints. We've got fallen trees or cut down trees. We've got logs in like a barricade, and then we've got mud, jungle texture. I'm not sure what we'd describe it, around the outside edges. And then we've got some sandbags, which all painted up could look really quite nice. Now what I seem to remember is you built the hut and then the ladder for the hut ended up in the path. So we'll have to have a look at that. And we have a path there that sort of goes in and isn't quite right. Now I reckon you could also utilize this as a First World War or Second World War gun emplacement, maybe. There's lots of options. But yeah, it's a nice start. And as a kid, having a diorama base, and we've talked about this a lot with Matchbox kits, really drew you into the subject and wanted you to buy another. So I've got a choice here, and what I'll have to do is have a look and see which is best, because they were notorious for being a bit hit and miss. So you can see the tree stump there is just a soft moulded lump, whereas it's got some texture and definition there. So there's a lot of painting needed to make this right. A little bit of trimming to sort it out. But we could do something really lovely with this, I think. So that's our base. Now, when it comes to the plastic, what we get is 3 sprue. And you can immediately see that the figures are missing off the end. So someone has used the figures for something and not used anything else in the kit. So we have a little base which is for a sign, as I recall, which you could put there and glue it on and it looked like a mound. We've got these little wooden packing cases which do have texture on the sides and little rope handles, and they look really cool. Then this is the floor. You can see it says 1977 on the underside. And we've got a little bit of a frame as well as some ejector pin marks, but that's it. I can't remember, there's no detail under there, but I can't remember that it was particularly visible. So everything gets built onto there, and you can see here we've got, it's quite nice sort of woven wicker effect walls. That's got a shut door. We've got material there that you can roll down to close the doors. We've got some fairly hefty toolboxes there, but you can have the door open. You can have, take the lid off. It's really good. And with a bit of sanding, you could get that into scale and make that look the part. Then we've got this grass looking roof, and there's so much detail and texture on there. Some washing and some dry brushing, and that's going to look really nice. I remember clearly this one because it has a ladder on top. So yeah, we've got some detail on there. I've got a box that's dropped off. On the second sprue, we've got roof for the main building, which is the same. We've got all these sort of wooden frames, and you've got the little ropes on there. So you could tidy that up and put some actual coloured ropes around there, some string, and make it look the part, make it look a little bit more authentic. The cable reels, really nice, and that's the frame for the little storage hut. Then we've got a couple of bicycles. Now they're a little bit basic, but for the time they're brilliant. And actually, under some paint, a bit of weathering, they'll look really good. The shovels, we've got tons of shovels there, tons of pickaxes, so loads of bits we can do. We've got a sign, but I don't think there was ever any decals with this kit particularly. So unless there's something in the instructions, I don't remember. I don't think you've got anything to go on the sign. And then we've got a couple of ladders, different widths, and more parts of the building. All very nice. Lots of detail, actually. And then this last one finishes off our building, and then we get the oil drums. And I remember I used the oil drums many times in different things after I'd taken it apart. So that's the basic parts without the figures. So let's have a look at the figures and the pack horses. So this is the plastic in the re-release, and it's just as crisp as the original plastic. There's a little bit of flash that's crept in, but other than that, there is no real issues with it. Other than, quite obviously, you can see it's been done in grey plastic, and somehow it doesn't quite say jungle to you in the same way as sandy yellow plastic does. You know, who knows why, but it doesn't quite feel the same somehow. What we can see is we've got a couple of bases here which were missing in the original version, and that's because the figures were made. So they are the bases for the figures, which you know, I guess that was so you could move them around if you wanted. So this is all the same, but what it does give me is extra bicycles to play with, even more hammers and stuff, and then we've got the bases there for the horses. And then here we've got our 2 figures and 2 pack horses. And you put some of these boxes that we saw can be mounted onto the horses. And I've got to say, they're really nicely detailed. Yeah, really nicely detailed. Now there is an injection pin on the main, but it could easily be, because it's on the main, you can use a knife blade to sort of cut it up and make it disappear. And there's a little bit of an ejector pin mark on there, but we can trim that away and make it fit. But look at the little bit of a bend on his. Look at the 2 Japanese soldiers. Unfortunately, they have the same pose, but they look great. And I used to repose figures all the time as a kid. You know, you cut a little wedge in the knee and move the leg to somewhere different. I used to do that quite a bit. So we could possibly move his arm or something like that, or put him in a different location so he's not with the train of horses. But yeah, he's really nice, and he looks like he's in the jungle, doesn't he? So we have everything we need to build one very good as intended model. But that's not what I want to do. Because I never painted it, I feel like I owe the kit a little bit of effort. So we're not gonna just paint it. I want to throw a little bit more at it. So let's have a look at that. So I ummed and ahed about getting a tank, but I decided that it might look a bit cramped. But what you could do is you could not put the storage in there, and you could put a tank in there in some way, and put your storage in other places. And Airfix just happened to have released a 176 Japanese tank in their classics range. So that I haven't done it yet, but it's been gnawing at me to maybe get a tank, and maybe that's what we could do on the second base. But I ended up going with some Japanese soldiers on bikes, and we've got 4 soldiers here, and we've got some really nice bikes. They're slightly larger than the ones in the Airfix kit, but these could be painted up to look really quite nice. Yeah, they have posable arms, and they've got bits of kit that you can mount onto the handlebars and stuff like that. So I thought that was more in keeping with the pack horse train than on that small path. So we've got some cyclists to go in there as well, which will make it feel a lot busier. Yeah, so, and some of these look like they're mounted on the bike, and some of them look like they possibly could be walking with a little modification. So yeah, we have some figures. So in addition to the actual kit itself, I've invested in some palm trees because I think these will add some much needed height, give you some scale and perspective, particularly of the figures. So I thought it'd be nice to have some trees, and they are really quite tall. So they're quite cheap and nasty, really, in terms of the plastic, but they look the part. And you get 3 of them, and as you can see, there's a lot of leaves to go on, so when you stack them all up, they actually look quite busy. Now they need a little bit of clean up and what have you, and they've got some pretty horrid bases that we absolutely won't use, but we have now got 3 palm trees, and what we could do is actually cut them to different heights and make them look like they're different ages, or we could have all 3 of them on the base with all the leaves and give it a bit more of a jungle type feel. But we're not going to stop at palm trees. I want to really go to town on this. So I have some vegetation. I have some 172 scale tropical leaves, and they are quite small, but they will look good scattered about when we pretty much when we've finished. We can scatter them around a little bit. I have some climbers and weeds, and they also give me some leaves and things. So we've got some vines that we can stretch across the place and make it look jungly. It also gives me a nice sort of dead colour in amongst the living jungle. I have some 172 jungle leaves. So these come out as a die cut leaf, and you just pull them out and glue them in. And I think I have, what, 2 in there, I think? Yeah, it looks like 2 sets of jungle set 1 leaves. I have jungle set 2 leaves, again, same scale, same principle. I have 2 of these, but different leaves. Some high ones, you can twist them around. You could dry brush these and change the colours a little bit, put dead ends on and things if you wished. Then, yeah, you guessed it, I got jungle set 3 as well. Gives you some bigger leaves. Again, all 172 scale, but you can dot in those in and around the base. Interwoven with these means we've got lots of different shapes of leaves, just like in a real jungle. I also got some ferns, again 172 scale, and you get 3 of the ferns in there. That's because they take up so much space. So we've got a combination of individual leaves and a fern that you can fold up. I don't think they come with any instructions particularly. In fact, I've not opened them and had a look. No, there's no instructions particularly, but they are basically a sort of a slightly felty feeling paper, but they are very, very fine. I think these will look lovely. So we've got that, and I also got some palm, again, it's all to scale, some big palm leaves, and some of these have got insects that have eaten holes in it and bits and pieces like that. So all sorts of little things in there. And then finally, I got some tufts of grass, and you can dry brush these and add all sorts of different colours, and we could put some dark grey, dark greens in and some browns and all sorts of things. And the tufts come in different sizes, so you can dot them around a little bit, so we can make our jungle base really, really busy with that. We'll have our path, we'll have our palm trees giving us some height, we'll have some dead bits and pieces, some of it can wrap around, can show that it's been growing. Then we've got some dead leaves to scatter as well, maybe put those on the roof of the building so it looks like fallen leaves have rested on the roof. We can make this really sing, just as I should have done back in 1977. But I didn't quite stop there. I got some palm leaves as well, so they will look like fallen palm tree leaves. So my intention is perhaps to do these sort of brown and have them dropped around the place. I also got some ground palms because they're quite spiky, and I thought they would look different, and you get 2 of those, so same sort of thing. And finally, I got some swamp reeds. Now, the idea of these is you can cut these to length and stick them in stagnant water, and they look like swamp reeds. But I thought we might be able to use them for dead grass and that sort of thing. We might be able to spray some of these green and have some tall, long-standing grass. We might even be able to bundle some up and make it look like a bundle of sticks for repairing the roof. Lots of things we could do with it. So all of that is going to go on that tiny 1/76 scale base, and I think the original concept will really come to life when we add all of that to it. It will really, really come to life. Cannot wait. So there you have it. Airfix's 1/76/72/HO00 scale jungle outpost from 1977. One of my favourite model kits of all time. About to be revisited at some point in the future. I am itching to get going on this, so I don't think we'll be waiting too long. And with a little bit of aftermarket help, I'm going to do the model justice as I should have done when I was 7 or 8, but simply didn't have the ability and all the patience. So I am looking forward to this. I think it's going to look really cool when done. Anyway, there you have it. That was my 3rd birthday present this year. That was a model kit, and it's probably the best present I've had for some years. Really looking forward to it. Take care, everyone. You enjoy your modelling, and I will see you very soon.